Hello, my name is Sonia, Emilio's AI assistant. Welcome to Week 2, Innovation and Global Competitiveness. Mini Lecture 2.1 will cover theories of opportunity and how we can find space for innovation.
So what do we mean by opportunity? Well, first we need to examine the concept of market imperfection. And this is because many opportunities and many spaces for innovation emerge due to these imperfections. So there are multiple types of imperfections, but the general idea of a market imperfection is some impediment or some impediments to the relation and interaction between supply and demand and the setting of a market price. So basically, market imperfections refers to the absence of a perfect market. And this is very, very normal. We see this all the time. It is our current situation, many, many market imperfections. There are actually a bunch of different factors that have been identified in the international business literature that can contribute to these imperfections, such as factor markets, transaction costs, and industry structures. And you've actually seen some of these already, if you recall these slides from previous lectures. Now, a perfect market is itself premised on this concept, this economic theory of perfect competition. Now, this notion of perfect competition is itself premised on a few assumptions. The first one being that buyers and sellers are both price takers. And this means that the price is determined by supply and demand rather than individual buyers or sellers. So the idea here being that companies or other sellers do not determine prices. Along that same line, the second assumption is that of product homogeneity. The idea here is that products are identical in quality, so they are priced the same because no seller is in a position to charge a different price than what is set by the market. For example, if you were to buy a kilogram of bananas, it doesn't matter where you buy these bananas from, they will be the same, they will serve the same purpose, they will have the same function, and therefore a uniform price will prevail in the market. The third assumption is the assumption of perfect information. The idea here being that all actors within the market have complete information regarding prices, regarding the prices of goods, the prices of services, the capabilities of others, and the resources that others use to develop these products or services. And a final assumption is that there are no barriers to entry and no barriers to exit. And this means that because prices are not controlled by individual firms, and because they produce similar goods and services, firms are free to enter and exit unencumbered by things like strategic price setting. So firms will enter an industry until there are no more profit opportunities, and they will exit that industry if there are profit losses until those losses hit zero. But this is not the case. This is not our real world context. There's many, many imperfections. And so an imperfect market is one where these assumptions are absent. They do not hold. So how do we define opportunity? Well, all economic actors respond to imperfections within the market. And we can think of this attenuation as sensing. Recall the lectures from week 1 and our Schumpeterian notion of innovation. We can define an entrepreneur as one who leverages these imperfections to do something differently within the realm of economic life. And we can think of this as seizing. Now, recall that a key objective of the traditional entrepreneur is to make a profit. And we can think of this profit-making behavior as transforming. But in the context of opportunities, it's the profit potential that defines an opportunity. Now, there are two major views when we think about opportunities, one stemming from decision theory and one stemming from creation theory. They both maintain that market imperfections provide opportunities, but they do diverge on a few things. They diverge on the origins of these imperfections, they diverge on the role of the entrepreneur, and they diverge on the context within which decisions are made. So when we talk about the nature of opportunities from these two perspectives, within the international entrepreneurship discipline, the major contention is the extent to which they exist in relation to entrepreneurial behavior, bearing in mind that everyone has the capacity to be entrepreneurial, including firms. So when we talk about discovered opportunities, these are things caused by exogenous factors. So things like technological change, political change, consumer preference. Think back to the Pastel framework. Now, by contrast, created opportunities are those that emerge from entrepreneurial behavior and action to produce goods or services that don't yet exist. So this doing of new things within economic life. Now, when we examine the role of the entrepreneur from these two perspectives, we can differentiate their role by the relative timing of their behavior or their activities. And and so from a discovery perspective, entrepreneurs take action prior to the discovery of an opportunity. And we call this ex ante. So their alertness allows them to forecast or sense opportunities, which gives them first mover advantage as they begin to exploit these new opportunities. Now, from a creation perspective, entrepreneurs take action based on perceived deficiencies from their previous experiences. And we can call this ex post. And these perceptions lead them to act in new, innovative ways that can lead to the emergence of new opportunities. Now, there are aspects of ex ante behavior within creation theory, but ex post experiential influence is much more pronounced. Now, as a result, the context within which they make these decisions differ in terms of the probability of outcome. Now, in the context of discovered opportunities, there is risk, and there will always be risk, including when it comes to created opportunities as well. But in the context of created opportunities, there's much more uncertainty. But what is the difference between uncertainty and risk, and how does it impact behavior and decision making? Now, we can differentiate between risk and uncertainty by their unmanageability. So uncertainty refers to unknowing, and we can't manage uncertainty because we simply don't know what will happen. Risk, on the other hand, is something we can quantify, it's something we can manage, and it's something that we can, try to mitigate. So for example, if I come up to you with a bag like the one below, you have no idea what's in it. You don't know what's in this bag. And I say to you, put your hand in. This for you represents uncertainty because anything can be in that bag. It could be money, it could be snakes, it could be thumbtacks, it could be food, whatever. You just don't know. And so you can't really manage it. You can do it or you cannot do it, but you really can't manage it because you simply do not know. But if I were to say to you, put your hand in this bag, the one above, and there are 6 blue marbles and there are 4 red marbles. If you pick a red one, I'm going to give you 500 pounds. But if you pick a blue marble, you give me 250 pounds. In this instance, you know that there is going to be a risk that you will pick a blue marble. You know the risk. So you can begin to quantify that there's a 40% chance of getting 500 pounds, but there's also a 60% chance of losing 250 pounds. Now you can begin to operate within these parameters with the knowledge of the potential risks. So 60% chance that you're going to lose 250 pounds. But by knowing these potential outcomes, you can then begin to manage the risks. So do you want to accept them or not? What, for example, will you do if you do choose a blue marble and you owe me 250 pounds? So you can begin to operate knowing that this thing could happen, i.e. losing money. How will you then begin to deal with that if you decide to take on this risk? Now, risk taking is a key characteristic of entrepreneurs because opportunities come with risk. In fact, John Stuart Mill, this guy who you remember from mini lecture 1.1, he developed this notion or this concept of entrepreneurship as risk taking behavior. So whether we align with the decision or the creation theory of opportunities, we see that entrepreneurs are those that leverage these opportunities, be they discovered, be they created, and they leverage these opportunities to provide products or service in an innovative way. And again, recall that innovation refers to doing things in ways that haven't been done before, or doing things that have been done in different ways. And there is often less competition for those who are brave enough to try new things. Businesses, many bigger businesses, not all of them, tend to shy away from risk. And entrepreneurs tend to step in and fill this gap. Now, in the context of the businesses that you were creating, when you begin to think of how you would sense and seize and transform based on an opportunity, or if you begin to think where you might find innovation, recall that innovation can emerge from any part of your business. It can refer to innovation in your process, so somewhere in your value architecture. It can emerge in the actual value you're creating, so your value proposition. It can emerge in your revenue model. So are you somehow reducing costs by doing something differently? Are you able to encourage more different revenue streams because of something innovative that you're doing? So when it comes to sensing and seizing and transforming and the innovative capacity of the businesses you are creating for your assessment, just remember that innovation can emerge from anywhere in your business.
This brings us to the end of Mini Lecture 2.1. We hope you enjoyed it. Please don't hesitate to watch this video as much as you need, and please be sure to come to class ready to engage. For those of you in Emilio's seminar, feel free to bring up the mistake he made multiple times. He enjoys being heckled. Hint: decision theory.